They tased a woman in her own home, then her husband showed his military ID. When the door slammed open, the woman screamed. Within seconds, she was tossed in her own home and collapsed to the floor. But then, her husband stepped forward, pulled out a worn ID, and the SWAT team froze. What happened next left the entire city stunned. Please support us by subscribe, like, and share for more with activating the notification bell. Thank you. It was supposed to be a normal Sunday. Tamika Robinson, a 34-year-old school counselor, stood in her kitchen humming as she made pancakes. Her 8-year-old son, Jalen, played with Legos nearby while the morning sun bathed their modest Georgia home in light. Her husband, Master Sergeant Raymond Robinson, a retired black veteran of the U.S. Army, had just come in from mowing the lawn. He was still wearing his sweat-soaked shirt, American flag bandana, and his dog tags that never left his chest. Just as Tamika flipped the last pancake, they heard a loud knock at the front door, followed instantly by another, harder bang. Raymond walked toward it. "Who is it?" he asked, but there was no answer. Then came the crash. The front door burst open. A SWAT team in full gear stormed inside, shouting, flashlights, pointed rifles, chaos. Tamika screamed, "Wait, wait, you have the wrong house." One officer yelled, "Get on the ground." But she was frozen, terrified. Without a warning shot, a taser was deployed, and Tamika crumpled to the kitchen floor, convulsing. Raymond lunged forward, heart pounding, fists clenched, ready to defend his family. Before he said a word, Raymond took a breath. He didn't want to escalate, but seeing his wife on the floor and his son sobbing, something broke inside him. He stepped between his son and the officers, and in a clear, calm voice, he said, "I serve this country too." Then, slowly and deliberately, he reached into his wallet and pulled out a worn, laminated military ID card. On it, Master Sergeant Raymond L. Robinson, United States Army, Rat. Everything changed. The room went silent. One SWAT officer hesitated, lowering his rifle. Another muttered under his breath, "Hold on, we might have made a mistake." Raymond repeated, "You tossed a U.S. citizen in her own home in front of her child. What are you doing?" His voice wasn't angry. It was disappointed, wounded, like a man betrayed by the very flag he'd fought for. One officer finally stepped forward. "We had a warrant for a suspect drug-related activity registered at this address. We're just following orders." Raymond stared at him. "This is my address. Been in this home for 11 years. There's no drug activity here. Just my wife, my son, and me." A second officer, visibly shaken, asked, "Are you Master Sergeant Robinson?" Raymond nodded. 3rd Infantry Division. Iraq, 2006. Afghanistan, 2011. Retired honorably. Check your system. They did, and the color drained from the face of the SWAT commander. They'd made a critical mistake. The house they were looking for was 2245 Pine Hill Drive. Raymond lived at 2245 Pine Hill Court, one street over. But instead of apologizing, the team mumbled vague statements about protocols and errors in dispatch. The commander quietly ordered a retreat. They left Tamika on the floor, her heart racing. No medical assistance. No apology. Raymond held her tightly. Jalen clung to his mother's legs. And all that remained in the house was the smell of gunpowder and injustice. Raymond didn't want to go public. But when Tamika's story was shared by her niece on TikTok, showing bruises on her back and the smashed front door, it went viral within hours. Hashtag Justice for Tamika, hashtag Wrong House Raid, hashtag Veteran Disrespected CNN. MSNBC. Even Fox News ran stories. The image of Raymond holding his military ID while his wife lay beside him became symbolic. The public was outraged. How can this happen to a black veteran in his own home? Why didn't they confirm the address? Would they have tossed a white mother in a suburban home the same way? Veterans organizations issued statements of support. Civil rights leaders demanded accountability. The local mayor even held a press conference. But the police department only responded with a 2-sentence statement: "We regret the inconvenience caused during a tactical entry. An internal review is ongoing." Inconvenience? Raymond had fought for this country, and now it had invaded his home. The Robinsons sued the city. The courtroom was packed. Every news channel aired it live. The judge asked Raymond to speak. He didn't yell. He didn't rage. He stood straight, his medals on his chest, and said, "I fought for America abroad. But today, I'm fighting for her here. Not with weapons, but with the truth." He paused, then added, "I wasn't tossed that day, but I was hit just as hard. Because watching your wife collapse in your own home, that's a wound no battlefield ever gave me." The court ruled in favor of the Robinsons. The city was ordered to pay damages. More importantly, mandatory address verification procedures were implemented across the police department. The SWAT commander was removed. 2 officers resigned. Tamika recovered. Jalen eventually slept through the night again. And Raymond? He kept his dog tags, but added a new item to his wallet, a laminated photo of his family. A reminder that sometimes the greatest war a soldier fights is on his own front lawn. In America, no one should fear their front door being kicked in, not even a family who served it with everything. Share this story if you believe respect doesn't stop at the uniform. It begins in our homes.